Bills Mafia, what's going on? You know it as well as I do. This Buffalo Bills team is constantly working, constantly improving, and doing everything in their power to bring us closer to the ultimate goal, a Super Bowl championship. Every week, it feels like they're sharpening another edge, solving another problem, and proving once again why this team is one of the most resilient in football. Before we get into today's story, which, trust me, is a good one, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and drop your thoughts in the comments. This channel is all about you, the fans, and together we're going to break down every twist and turn of this season. Now, let's talk about Joey Bosa, Thursday Night Football, and a couple of injury updates that have Bills Mafia watching closely. We've all seen the ups and downs of Joey Bosa's career. When the Buffalo Bills made the bold move to bring him in this offseason, there were mixed reactions. Some were excited, knowing what kind of disruptive force he can be. Others were cautious, pointing out his injury history and wondering whether he could hold up over the grind of a full season. Well, Bills Mafia, here we are in Week 3, and Joey Bosa is not only healthy, he's thriving. In fact, he came right out this week and said something that should get every single one of us fired up. His exact words, he's feeling probably the best I have, maybe ever, heading into Thursday's matchup with the Miami Dolphins. Think about that for a second. This is a 30-year-old veteran, already leading the NFL in forced fumbles through 2 weeks, telling us that his body feels as good as it's ever felt. For a guy whose health has always been the storyline, that's music to our ears. Now, let's not sugarcoat it. Bosa also made it clear he's not a fan of Thursday night games. And really, who is? Players across the league have spoken out about the toll these short weeks take on their bodies. Bosa admitted it himself, saying Thursday usually comes around just as your legs are starting to recover from Sunday. But here's the good news. This one comes early in the season. The wear and tear hasn't built up yet, and Bosa said the energy at practice was high, that everyone looked prepared, and that he personally feels great. That's a big deal, because we all know Thursday night games can get sloppy if a team comes in banged up or unprepared. And get this, Buffalo has 2 Thursday night games this season. That's tough. But if Bosa is feeling fresh now, and if the Bills can handle their business against Miami, it could set him up for the kind of long-term rhythm this defense needs. Here's another thing to watch. Bosa has played about 57% of defensive snaps through the first 2 weeks. That's a smart number. It shows Sean McDermott and the staff are being intentional about managing his workload. You don't need Bosa playing 80% of snaps in September. You need him healthy and disruptive in December and January when the lights are brightest. And let's be honest, if the Bills handle Miami the way the Colts did in Week 1, a 33-8 beatdown, this could be a great opportunity to scale Bosa back even further, keep him fresh, and let some younger guys rotate in. A win paired with rest, that's the dream scenario. But while Bosa's health is trending up, there are a couple of other names we need to talk about. Ed Oliver and Matt Milano. This is where things get concerning. Oliver, who injured his ankle in practice before the Jets game, didn't play in Week 2 and was seen in a walking boot this week. That's not what you want to hear about one of your most explosive interior linemen. And then there's Milano. He left the Jets game with a pec injury, and while the team hasn't ruled him out yet, he's also missed practice. Bills Mafia, we know how important these two are. Oliver, when healthy, is one of the nastiest pass rushers from the defensive tackle position. He can blow up plays before they even start. And Milano, he's the heartbeat of this defense. When he's on the field, everything feels faster, more organized, more physical. Without him, it's a different unit. And let's also not forget, both players have had tough injury luck the past couple years. Milano especially. He's one of the best linebackers in football when available, but season-ending injuries have robbed us of seeing his full impact in back-to-back years. So, yeah, this is something to watch. With Oliver and Milano both questionable, it might be up to guys like Dorian Williams or Joe Andreessen to step up. That's the reality of football. It's always next man up. But against a divisional opponent, in prime time, you'd love to have your studs healthy. Now, speaking of divisional opponents, Let's talk Dolphins. The odds makers have Buffalo as an 11.5-point favorite. That's a big number, and it reflects how badly Miami has struggled through the first 2 weeks. They got embarrassed 33-8 by the Colts in Week 1, and they haven't looked any better since. That doesn't mean the Bills can sleepwalk into this game. Divisional matchups are always tricky, and Miami would love nothing more than to steal one in Orchard Park and throw the AFC East race into chaos. But if the Bills can handle their business early, it gives them a chance to ease up on Bosa's snaps, give the backup some burn, and set themselves up for Week 4 against the Saints at home. First off, the numbers don't lie. Josh Allen is 12-2 against Miami in the regular season. That's his best record against any opponent he's faced at least 5 times. 6 straight victories for Buffalo in this rivalry, including that wildcard playoff game back in 2022. And here we are in 2025 with Allen still dominating this matchup. And Miami, they're 0-2, winless, frustrated, and their head coach Mike McDaniel is already feeling the heat. Just last week, a plane flew a banner over their stadium calling for his job. Imagine the pressure. And now they've got to walk into Orchard Park under the lights against a Buffalo team that looks every bit like a Super Bowl contender. Fans, it's not just that Buffalo is winning, it's how they're winning. 2 games in, the Bills are averaging a league-high 450 yards per game and are second in scoring at 35.5 points. Josh Allen looks sharp. James Cook looks electric. And this offense is firing on all cylinders. Cook in particular deserves a spotlight. Remember that contract drama during training camp? Some fans worried it might become a distraction. Instead, Cook handled it like a pro. And now he's tied for the league lead in rushing touchdowns with 3 and sits 4th in rushing yards with 176. Even more impressive, he scored a rushing touchdown in 6 straight games dating back to last year, just 1 shy of O.J. Simpson's franchise record. Josh Allen himself said it best. He's an absolute stud. Bills Mafia, you can see it on the field. The explosiveness, the balance, the confidence. Cook is giving this team an added dimension that makes the Bills almost unfair to defend. Of course, it hasn't been without bumps. Allen took that brutal shot against the Jets last week, left the game for 2 plays with a bloody nose, and still came back swinging. Now he plans to wear a visor for added protection. That's toughness. That's leadership. And that's why this locker room rallies around him. But here's where things get tricky. The injury report. For Buffalo, Ed Oliver is dealing with an ankle injury, still in a walking boot, and hasn't practiced. That's concerning because Oliver's presence in the middle is a huge part of this defense. Matt Milano, battling a pec injury, also hasn't practiced this week. Bills Mafia knows what Milano means to this team. When he's healthy, he's a game changer. Without him, the defense feels different. Add in Shaq Thompson, hamstring, hand, Cam Lewis, shoulder, and Taron Johnson, quad, and suddenly Buffalo's depth is being tested early in the season. Now, look across the sideline. Miami is dealing with their own wave of injuries. Jalen Waddle, shoulder problem. Darren Waller, hip. Running back Jalen Wright, knee. Even their starting center, Aaron Brewer, has a hip issue, though Coach McDaniel says he's confident Brewer will play. And it doesn't stop there. Cornerback Storm Duck, ankle, and safety Ifeatu Melifonwu, calf, haven't practiced at all. That's not exactly the recipe you want when you're facing Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Keon Coleman, and Dalton Kincaid on a short week. Now let's not forget the psychology of this matchup. Miami hasn't won in Buffalo since 2016. Let me say that again, 9 years. That's before Allen, before McDaniel, before most of the current roster. This is more than just a game. It's a mental mountain for the Dolphins. And when you add in the short turnaround of Thursday night football, the energy at Highmark Stadium, and Buffalo's red-hot offense, it feels like another long night is coming for Miami. Still, you can't overlook the Dolphins' weapons. Tyreek Hill is always dangerous. Waddle, if healthy, can torch defenses. And Devon Achane is a versatile back who can change a game in a flash. Tua Tagovailoa had a strong outing against New England last week, completing 26 of 32 passes for 315 yards and 2 touchdowns. The problem? He threw that critical interception late in the fourth quarter that sealed the loss. That's been the story of Miami so far. Moments of brilliance undone by costly mistakes.
Bills Mafia, here's the key question. Can Buffalo's defense hold up without Milano and Oliver? Because if those two can't go, Miami's speed could stress this unit. But on the flip side, can Miami's beat-up defense really keep pace with Allen and Cook? Through 2 weeks, the Dolphins are giving up 375 yards per game and 33 points. That's near the bottom of the league. Against this Bills offense, that's a nightmare waiting to happen. Sean McDermott knows it too. He gave Miami's offense credit this week, saying McDaniel's scheme is one of the hardest to defend in the league. But deep down, he also knows this is an opportunity. Thursday night, at home, against a division rival in turmoil, it's a chance for Buffalo to plant their flag as the undisputed kings of the AFC East. And don't overlook what's at stake here. If Buffalo wins, they move to 3-0 with another statement victory. If Miami loses, they fall to 0-3 in just 12 days. That's a hole that's historically almost impossible to climb out of. Pressure is everything in football, and right now, all of it is on the Dolphins. So, here's where we're at. Joey Bosa feels better than ever. He's producing at a high level. The team is carefully managing his snaps. And while he's not thrilled about playing on Thursday night, he looks ready to roll. At the same time, injuries to Ed Oliver and Matt Milano could leave the defense shorthanded against Miami. That's the bad news. The good news is this Bills team has shown resilience before, and McDermott's defenses usually find ways to adapt. This Thursday night game might not just be about beating the Dolphins. It might be about showing how deep and versatile this defense really is and how ready the Bills are to weather adversity.